How are you? My name is Michelle Connor. I'm your VCS for Living Environment. Today we're going to be looking at the Asking Scientific Questions lab. This is a really good lab to kind of see where your students are at as far as basic lab procedures, scientific inquiry. You can kind of use it as like a diagnostic for your students, especially because it's done very early on in the school year. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over kind of how it can be done. And again, it can be done remotely or in the building. We have adapted it for both options. If you want to print it, you can print it for your students. If you want to do a virtual option, you can. So if we look at here, there's a teacher kind of directions and then the student handout. So here's an example of what the teacher directions look like. And here's our student handout. So what you're going to do is you're going to give your students 5 to 10 minutes to observe some scientific phenomena. It could be like a trail cam from a particular area. It could be a zoo cam. It could be anything. You could find a video on YouTube, whatever you are kind of think your students would be interested in. And they're going to go ahead and then they're going to record their observations for part 1. And they're going to start writing down as many questions as they can come up with. You may want to come up with a model for your phenomena before they start. This way they kind of have an idea of where you're going with this. Then they're going to go ahead and mark questions for step 2 by using an X, and then reflect on the rules you decide for what's actually a scientific question. There is going to be a comparative of questions where students are looking at is it measurable or is it not measurable? How variables are kind of different. And that's the first part. The second part looks at cause and effect. So students are going to come up with a list of cause and effect synonyms. Then they're going to be practicing analyzing questions. So if you go ahead and you open the titles, here's our titles. They go from any title, different topics. So all they would do is they would, and there's also simplified titles to make it a little bit easier if you need to scaffold. So what you're going to do is you're going to just have the students copy and paste some titles. And what they're going to do is they're going to highlight the cause in yellow and the effect in green. For relationships, so they're going to paste and highlight the journals there. And that's how you go ahead and do the lab. So it requires a little bit of setup from the teacher's standpoint as far as finding your phenomenon that you're interested in. It also will require about 2 days. And again, it's really great to use for a diagnostic.